Have you ever thought about how different our world could be? What if entire continents, filled with millions of people and advanced civilizations, remained completely unknown to each other? This isn't science fiction. This was our reality. There was a time when the Earth was split into two separate worlds, unaware of each other's existence, until one single event changed everything forever. There have been moments in Earth's history when survival itself was a constant struggle. Times when massive sheets of ice covered huge parts of the planet, when oceans shrank, and when human life teetered on the very edge of extinction. Scientists call these periods ice ages, and our planet has gone through at least 5 of them. Each one lasted for thousands of years. But the last one, the most recent one, is the one that shaped our modern world in ways we're only just beginning to understand. During this final ice age, our ancestors lived lives that are almost unimaginable to us today. They took shelter in caves, wrapped themselves in animal skins to survive the biting cold, and hunted in small, tight-knit groups. It was a life lived on the move, always following the herds. Around 25,000 years ago, a group of these hunters in what we now call Siberia started following massive herds of mammoths and bison northward. They had no maps, no grand plan. They were simply trying to survive. They didn't know it, but nature itself was quietly building a bridge for them, a gateway to a new world. Because so much of the world's water was locked up in colossal glaciers, sea levels dropped dramatically by hundreds of feet. What was once the bottom of the ocean became dry land, and right there, between Asia and North America, a vast, frozen plain emerged from the sea. We call this land bridge beringia. For the hunters following the herds, this wasn't a monumental discovery. It was just more land, more ground to cover in their endless search for food. It was pure survival instinct. Step B, step generation by generation. Without even realizing it, humans were crossing into a completely unknown world. This migration wasn't a quick sprint across a narrow channel. The distance between Asia and North America at its narrowest point today is only about 85 kilometers. But this journey, this slow, gradual spread of people, took over 10,000 years to complete. Think about that. 10,000 years. These early people didn't see borders. The concept of continents didn't exist for them. They simply followed the food, the fresh water, and the changing seasons. They were pioneers in the truest sense, venturing into a land no human had ever seen before. Then, around 11,000 years ago, the world began to change again. The Ice Age started to end. The massive glaciers that had covered the globe began to melt, and all that water flowed back into the oceans. Sea levels rose, and the land bridge that had connected the world slowly disappeared beneath the waves. The door closed behind them. Asia and America were cut off from each other once more. The old world and the new world became complete strangers, separated by vast oceans. And this separation would last for thousands of years. Over those millennia, the people who had settled in the Americas didn't just survive. They thrived. They built incredible civilizations. In Central America, the Maya civilization flourished for over 4,000 years. They were masters of astronomy, developing calendars more accurate than those in Europe. They created complex writing systems and built towering pyramids that still stand today. Later, the mighty Aztec Empire rose in what is now Mexico, controlling hundreds of city-states and ruling over millions of people with a complex social and political structure. And down in South America, the Inca Empire stretched for thousands of miles along the Andes Mountains. From modern-day Ecuador all the way to Chile and Argentina, its population grew to nearly 12 million people, all connected by an incredible network of roads and a sophisticated system of governance. And beyond these great empires, thousands of different tribes and cultures lived all across the continents, from the Arctic north of Canada to the rainforests of Brazil. They farmed maize, potatoes, and beans, built villages and cities, and developed unique traditions, languages, and ways of life. They had created a world all their own. Meanwhile, on the other side of the planet, Europe, Africa, and Asia were following their own distinct paths. Great empires rose and fell. Religions spread. Wars were fought. But for the millions of people on both sides of the Atlantic, the other world simply did not exist. It wasn't in their stories. It wasn't on their maps. It wasn't even in their wildest dreams. The oceans were like giant, impenetrable walls, separating two halves of humanity. Now, there are some tantalizing clues. Some mysterious whispers in history that suggest a few travelers might have crossed the ocean before the big one. Ancient Chinese texts speak of a distant land called Fusan. We know for a fact that Vikings, the Norse explorers, landed in Newfoundland around the 10th century, a full 500 years before Columbus. There are other claims, too, involving Muslims, Buddhists, and even ancient Romans, but none of these contacts, real or imagined, changed history. They were like a single stone dropped into a vast ocean. The ripples disappeared almost instantly. The two worlds remained separate. A true, permanent, global connection had not yet happened. Let's jump to Europe in the years leading up to the Great Change. Before the 15th century, Europe had known periods of immense power. The Roman Empire, at its peak, had ruled vast territories for centuries. But by the late Middle Ages, that power had fractured. Then, in 1453, a single event shook the continent to its core. The great city of Constantinople fell to the Ottoman Turks. This wasn't just the fall of a city, it was the fall of an era. Constantinople was the gateway between East and West. It was the hub through which all the treasures of Asia silk, spices, gold, and priceless knowledge flowed into Europe. When the city fell, that gateway slammed shut. The old trade routes were blocked. Europe was plunged into a deep economic crisis. Poverty spread like a plague. Crime rates soared. A sense of fear and desperation began to dominate daily life. On top of the economic crisis, Europe was facing a spiritual one. Many Christians felt their world was shrinking. Powerful Muslim empires controlled the Mediterranean, North Africa, and the Middle East. From a European perspective, they felt surrounded, cornered. They desperately needed a way out, a new hope, a new path forward, and that hope still lay in the East. The writings of Marco Polo, from centuries earlier, described China and Japan as lands of almost unimaginable wealth, with cities of gold and palaces of silver. The dream of Asia was alive and well, but the land routes were now blocked by hostile powers. The traditional sea routes around Africa were long, dangerous, and controlled by their rivals. Europe needed a new path, a faster, shorter, more direct route to the riches of the East. And that's when a man with a simple, yet dangerously radical idea stepped onto the stage. He was an Italian sailor, and he believed the solution was obvious. Don't go east. Sail west. If the earth is truly round, as educated people knew it was, then you must be able to reach Asia by sailing across the Atlantic Ocean. His name was Christopher Columbus. He was brilliant, ambitious, and completely, utterly wrong about the size of the planet. He calculated that Japan was only about 4,500 kilometers away from Europe. The actual distance is nearly 20,000. But it was this monumental mistake that would change the world forever. After years of being rejected by the courts of Portugal, England, and France, Columbus finally found a sponsor in Spain, Queen Isabella, driven by a complex mix of motives: the desire for gold, the thirst for power and prestige, and a fervent religious zeal to spread Christianity, agreed to fund his voyage. Neither Columbus nor the Queen could have possibly known what they were about to unleash. They thought they were opening a new trade route. In reality, they were about to rewrite human history. In 1492, Columbus and his 3 small ships sailed west. He did not reach Asia. He stumbled upon the Americas. A world that had been a complete unknown to Europe for thousands of years was suddenly, shockingly, exposed. This single moment connected the old world and the new world, once and for all. But it also marked the beginning of a brutal era of conquest, colonization, and global transformation. The discovery of America wasn't just an act of exploration. It was a collision of civilizations on a scale never seen before. It created new empires, fueled by the wealth of the New World, and propelled Europe to global dominance. But it also destroyed ancient cultures, decimated populations, and reshaped the balance of power on a planetary scale. The modern world as we know it, a single, interconnected global community, was born from this moment of discovery. And the consequences of that collision, both good and bad, are still shaping our lives today. Thanks for watching. If you found this journey through history fascinating, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more stories about how our world came to be. See you next time.